Almost a year ago, I really started on the stream I had where I'd make YouTube content. I'm not fully in it yet, and anyone who's been following me has likely been frustrated by my progress. It started with the series I call Slaying the Backlog. I put out 4 videos of the series before I made the video I made that did the best. That derailed my progress, and I worked on what I thought would be another huge project for about, I don't know, months after that. And in the interest of not losing viewers on this video, let's just get into Catherine Full Body. So my vision for Slaying the Backlog has always been one of having a place I can go to where I play games from my backlog and hopefully inspiring others to do the same. Long term, I would like the series to be more of a book club sort where we have a community vote on what we're going to play, and then we all come together and talk about the game that you guys voted on. Catherine Full Body is just the one I picked, and until we get to the point where we get to that book club, it's just going to be games that I want to play for my backlog. Catherine Full Body was released in 2019. The original Catherine, which is technically the game that I put on my backlog in the first place, was released way back in 2011. If I were making a video about the greatest years in gaming history, 2011 would be near the top, if not at the top of that list. I bought Catherine probably in 2013 or 2014 for the Xbox 360. And then it sat on a shelf for all the years since. And even now, I played look how fun this is. I played the full body release for the 2019 for the Xbox One, or Series X is what I played it on. We'll get into the difference of, or at least what my understanding of the difference is, but that's going to be a little later in this video. Catherine surprised me, honestly. I didn't know a lot about the game going into it. I had heard it was a weird puzzle game and that it was good and strange. And now I know more things about the game than I used to know. I now know that it's the same team that is making Metaphor ReFantazio, which is another game that is likely to sit on my backlog for a while, but when we get to it, we're going to get to it. The funny thing about Catherine is when I picked it up, I'd never even played Persona yet, so it being an Atlas game wasn't something that meant anything to me. In any case, the purpose of a review like this is if Catherine or Catherine Full Body is a game that is in your backlog, I do absolutely think it's worth the 10 to 12 hours it takes to get to the first playthrough of a game. Assuming you're okay with particular gameplay style, which I'll get into. If you love it though, there are several endings to go back to and explore, and at worst, you make all the choices as honestly as you can, and you get the ending that is intended for you. I really enjoyed my time with Catherine. Its weird puzzle mechanics ended up being something I was fond of, even if it frustrated me sometimes. Did anyone out there play Catherine Full Body? And if you did, drop a comment letting me know which ending you got and your thoughts on it, or just on the game in general. I'd really like to see other people's thoughts. Don't spoil anything for the people who have this on the backlog and haven't played it yet. And even this review, I'm going to try to make it as spoiler-free as possible. So, the premise of Catherine is pretty simple to explain. You're a man named Vincent who cheats on his girlfriend Catherine with a girl named Catherine. It's honestly framed like a modern horror where Vincent's dealing with his guilt and he has these nightmares that might have something to do with a witch who curses people, but some of the things in the nightmare, they're pretty frightening. The nightmares present themselves as Vincent climbing this tower and running away from things that are chasing him. You see, Vincent's real problem is that Catherine wants to get married, and he's got commitment issues for sure. And so when she tells him she's pregnant, that's really what breaks him mentally. And so you got this character that's as unreliable as the narrator as any other character, which leads you into this fun horror route where you don't really know if there's a witch cursing people or if Vincent's just losing his mind. And I mean, there's resolution to the story. It's not the whole game's like, oh, is he crazy or not? But I guess the fact that I played this in October, it just kind of surprised me that it had like this whole horror route or horror genre aspect, like psychologically, that I didn't know what to expect going into it. And so for me personally, October was the perfect time to play this game. The game had me suspecting like every single female that Vincent encounters at one point or another, I'm like, oh, that's the witch who cursed us. Oh, that's the person who put us in the nightmares. Whether I was blaming Ren or Catherine or Erica, I just didn't trust anybody. And so the reason for that is there's this voice in the confession room in Vincent's dreams, and the voice tells you at one point that the person who sent you here is closer to you than you think. And that's what set my paranoia off. I'm like, it's this chick. And I'm like, witch, it's got to be a girl. It's this chick. It's just Vincent's a bad dude, For most of the story, my biggest suspect was Erica, because she works at the bar that Vincent's always hanging out at, and she gets to hear the guys talk. So she knows Vincent's cheating. So I'm like, oh, she got it out for him. She put him here. I'm going to avoid, as I said, spoiling anything major in this video. There's apparently 18 unique endings to the game, which is crazy. And then another thing I love about Catherine, it's just something I love about Atlas games in general, which is the anime cutscenes are the best in the business. Like, I don't know what it is, but something gets me extremely hyped as soon as the anime takes over and you just get to watch like an anime cutscene. Every Atlas game I've played does it, and it's my favorite part of like every single, like, it's almost enough to keep me going, to be like, I gotta see that next anime. Gotta see it. Another cool thing that Catherine does is they've got this arcade machine in the bar. It's called Super Rapunzel. Mechanically, it just acts as extra puzzle levels that copy the gameplay of the nightmare sequences. But by virtue of it being the exact same level structure of like the nightmares, and it being in the bar that Vincent is, hanging out at, you get this like thing where it's like it plays heavily into my Vincent's an unreliable narrator and losing his mind over his guilt horror aspect that we have going on, because mechanics of the nightmares are the same as the arcade machine that he would play at the bar he's at, or he would see. And then they've got this thing in there about the Rapunzel's family is cursed by a witch, so that's how you get the witch curse. And it's just like there's levels of everything that's going on that just plays into my Vincent's crazy theory. A lot of time horror, the themes are actually on a deeper level about a strong feeling that the main character has, like guilt, trauma, grief, and a lot of horror really is just about trying to deal with those like really powerful human emotions. Catherine in that type of story would fit. I'm not saying that's what the resolution at the end is. I'm just saying while you're playing, if you think about that, you're like, well, Vincent could just be crazy. Going a little more into this, the boss encounters in your dreams, things that are chasing you, are just the things that are stressing Vincent out the most. Like, at one point, you're being chased by a creepy baby because Catherine says she's pregnant, and that's stressing Vincent out. On top of that, the other sheep in your dream sequences is just people from the bar or like your friends and things. Like, once you really start to talk to them, you're like, that's just that guy. For the most part, Catherine presents itself similarly to like a visual novel of sorts. A lot of your gameplay time is just you talking to people around the bar or responding to text on your phone, which is also a really cool mechanic. Being able to get messages from people and then you read them and you select like one line response, the next response, the next. The gameplay footage will show what I'm talking about, but just responses of like what you want Vincent to say, and people send you like picture messages, like Catherine, the mistress Catherine will send you like 30 pictures, and then you're like, oh, I can't look at these when there's people around. I don't know. I just thought it was like, it's like a fun thing that makes the world continue to feel like it's moving even when you're in these gameplay sections. Like people who aren't there are still getting things, like texting you, and things are happening. Other than the bar though, and your nightmare sections, or when you're playing the arcade game or whatever, you don't really take control of Vincent other than that. Like, it's cutscenes, you're at the bar, you walk around the bar, talk to whoever you want to, maybe you get drunk, maybe you play Super Rapunzel, it doesn't really matter, respond to your text messages. Then you're in the nightmare, then it's cutscenes, then you're at the bar, rinse and repeat. So that's really the gameplay, and if that's something that you think would be annoying to you, that it is what it is. And then the choices you make really are about who you talk to, what you drink, how you respond to messages, whether you answer people's calls or not. And then in the nightmare section, you go to the confessional, and there's a question every night that you have to answer. And there's like a meter, which is like blue and red, that like you sway towards the blue or you sway towards the red, which I believe would be like, well, the way the game explains it at the very end is it's like freedom versus order. The only difference I know between Catherine and Catherine Full Body is the character Rin. She's presented as a girl that Vincent saves, is being chased by someone trying to hurt her. She's got amnesia and no memory to go off of. She plays piano at the bar, and Vincent hangs out at, and then she's also playing piano in the dreams. She's presented as a character that's like always trying to help Vincent, reassuring him, trying to encourage him to move on and keep going. And at the first, I'm like, oh, you evil. Like I said, I suspected everyone. That didn't really last for very long. I was pretty early on. I'm like, nah, Ren's good. She gets close with Erica and slots into your cast of characters pretty well as like a innocent character who's got like the innocence that, you know, Vincent and the rest of them don't really have, which is a good contrast. Ren has a few secrets you uncover throughout the game. I won't spoil any of the big ones, but the small one is that her name is Catherine with a Q. So, you know, what are the odds? 3 Catherines. Speaking of characters, the game's got really great characters. Like, each character has things about them that make them feel like they really live in the world. It's what you expect from an Atlas games. Atlas games always have great characters, and Atlas apparently doesn't miss with these. But what I really enjoyed with Vincent's friend group and how they really felt like a real friend group. And shout out to the voice actors because they played it phenomenally. They sound natural. Conversations seem like a couple dudes would have these conversations. Personally, I didn't go through multiple endings. The choices I made got me to the ending that I got, which was the Catherine ending, your girlfriend. You know, I stuck with her. I'm a monogamist. Let's get it done. Get that other Catherine out of here. But I could definitely see myself going back to this game in the future, making different choices and either getting Catherine or Ren. I personally enjoyed my time with Catherine. I'm glad I got it off the backlog, but I'm also glad I played it. It's a great spooky season game, and it really surprised me in that fact. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and consider subscribing to my channel. If you want to see more videos like this, I'm going to drop a list of like 3, 4, maybe 5 games in the description. Drop a comment. What should I play next for the next Slaying the Backlog video? And as always, go out there, play some games, man. Get your backlogs finished. Don't buy new games. Play the old ones. And always be excellent to each other.